So we have sufficiently annoyed the kids today. We came over here to do a video and not to go on a walk because it's been raining. Although it looks like it's easing up, so theoretically, we probably will when we're done. Theoretically. Maybe at least a couple laps around the parking lot. I don't know. But yeah. They weren't going to get to come at all. I was just going to drop the movies off at the library and then just like come over here and leave them at home, but I did not do that. Stop. Probably should have done that though. So, it's been a really good day. I haven't done anything. Well, I did take a shower. There's my green hair that I couldn't find yesterday. Yeah. And they're all just like, "What the fuck are we doing this, Mom? Didn't bring the bones or anything." So, I got up this morning and I had the one movie that, stutter all over myself, the one movie that was due back like on Friday, and I didn't turn it in Friday. So, what happened was I got both Smile 1 and 2 and forgot that I got them both at the same time. And so when I got the email saying that this other movie and Smile had been renewed, I automatically, for some reason, just assumed that the second one was on there too, and didn't pay close enough attention. So that's totally on me. Yeah, totally my fault. But I was like, well, I figured I'd watch it last night, and I did watch the first one. I was trying to be productive, right? So I'm working on cleaning my room and reorganizing stuff, getting rid of shit, all that fun stuff. The frame with the daughter thing in it that I talked about yesterday, I was kind of like over having in my space because it kind of seemed like a load of crap. And basically, here's this thing that says I love you, but then nothing with actions that show I love you ever. So, yeah, it's like it never meant anything to me because it was always just for show, right? So, last night, I thought about putting it at the bottom of this, like, Goodwill box, and was like, you know what? Or I could keep the frame because I have been painting frames and I enjoy that. And throw the other part away. And I did. So yeah. So now I don't have to worry about getting in trouble for throwing something out that I have no sentimental attachment to, because no action to support the point of the thing, right? Stop it. Don't eat my hair. Anyway, my big successful thing yesterday was, I did that and got the frame went to the top of the closet because obviously I can't, spray paint them when it's like freaking rainy as hell out, and windy as hell for that matter. The other big thing that I managed to successfully do was get my great grandma's old grow lights that she had for her African violets and whatnot. I got those, so they're in the top of the closet now because at some point I will probably want those, since I have a bunch of plants, and right now I have good lighting in the room that they are in, but I figure that's probably not always going to be the case, so I'll probably want those lights at some point in the future. Hey, quit licking that. I should have left them at home. I knew that when I was loading them up, and it's like, here we go. They just all kind of stopped when they said that. But anyway, I got that in the top of the closet, and then I basically just got sidetracked with watching the first Smile movie, which I'd seen it before. It'd been a while. But yeah. So I kind of meandered off from the cleaning. Oh, I did throw some stuff out from the nightstand that, I mean, I hadn't gone through it in a long time. I found like this National Guard lanyard and a keychain. It's like, oh, I have no sentimental attachment to these either, so I put them on my dad's desk, so if he wants them, he can have them. If he does not want them, then Goodwill. Or whatever else we're doing these days. Yeah. And then I got sidetracked with the movie. And then I was just watching the movie instead. So this morning, I mean, when the movie was over last night, it's like, it's late enough. I really don't want to watch another movie. I really just want to go to bed. Right? So, plus, I did some writing. And, I mean, nothing real big revelation type things. But I was talking about what I talked about in the video yesterday, and part of that being like the chaos space in this like future little setup that I see myself in now, right? A little cottage type house or whatever with chaos all over the walls, right? Stop it. And at one point, like when I was writing, like I just kind of zoned out and was like staring at this shelf that I have. It's one of those floating shelves. It's like completely black because I taped over it when I was painting so I could leave it plain black. And then as I was taking the tape off of it, I kind of almost was sad that I hadn't painted it also. But now I think I'm good with it being black. And chill. Chill! That is hell not chill. Hella not chill, man. No. Right. Let me just mess myself up. We'll go ahead and let him come up here, and then I'll regret all my life choices for a little bit, right? And get just like, hey, I'm not up there. Why am I not up there? Oh, jeez. What I should do. I'm going to drop the phone on my head. Give myself maybe a little more room. Between me and the steering wheel, since this clown's on my lap now. But anyway, I was staring at the shelf, and then I was thinking, if I end up in this space, quit. All by myself, it's like, what am I going to have hanging my shelves, right? Hanging the things that I don't hang. I got some shelves. I got my TV, that's mounted. I think both of them were. Do not sit on my straw, you bozo! This is less than ideal. Entirely less than ideal. Stop! Shithead. Probably got a potty. Oh, I just made it all chaotic now and not fun. Stop! Stop! No! What you can't see is he's holding my arm too. Trying to push his face away from mine, and he grabs my arm with his foot. No. No. Now we got hurt feelings back here. I'm sad. Okay. We're going to hiatus. I'm going to potty them. And then come back. And stop. And deal with this some more, I guess. Okay. Jolly little stroll around the parking lot. 2 peed, 1 pooped. Here we are again. He still doesn't look like he's going to behave, so we're going to just wing it anyway. Now I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, the shelf. Right, so I had this little thought of, but I'll need somebody to hang my things in the space, right? Anyway, like just had some stuff pop into my head. And just nice things. As far as getting some assistance on that end. And then it was like, I don't know, another one of those times where I could just like feel his presence again, like really close. So I got this statue the other day when I was at Interpath, and there's one week I was there, I got this little Archangel Michael statue, right? And then since I'm doing this thing and, you know, working on the writing and using my voice essentially, I thought it would be appropriate to also get a little statue of Archangel Gabriel, right? So they didn't have the little version of that. So I ended up getting the next size up, which was only like $3 more, which was fine. And then the other day I was there, and I found this statue that I just absolutely loved. And it's technically just like a guardian angel, but obviously the angel has the wings and everything. And then there's a woman with him, and he has like one arm around her, and it's basically like in the shelter of his wings kind of a thing, right? So I just really love the statue, and I got it. It was like way more than the other two combined even, but I was like, I have to have this in my space. And a lot of it has been with like everything I've been navigating on the family and the energy and protecting my energy and all that. Ziba, quit licking the seat. Zibidee. Alright, get you some water. If I can not spill it everywhere. No promises, I might. Here, have some. She's like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Taz is like, give it to me, I want it all. But anyway, since I've been dealing with the family stuff, and I've talked on here about, like the barrier between me and my parents' energetic stuff, right? And, slurp, slurp, slurp. One of these days, it's not going to be as chaotic doing the videos with them in my space, because we'll be in this little house that I'm going to manifest somehow. And 333 as I was starting to talk about this. And they're going to behave. And if they don't, I will have a backyard with a fence that I can just throw them in and it will be okay. Yeah. But until then, here we are. So I've talked about like feeling like there's like so much cleaning and purging of the physical stuff that I can do, and then I hit a point where I have to stop for a while, and then I can still like maybe do some writing and clear some other stuff out in the energetic space, and yeah, but it's like I can only go so far in the physical space, and then I stop, and then it's like realizing that my parents' stuff is still kind of creeping in and like trying to impose its way into my space and my energy and all this stuff. And there were 4s that time. Ow! Blockhead. You're staying back there. No. So when I saw the statue, then of course, I mean, I automatically think like twin flame stuff because that's like essentially the thing that's kept me moving all along this journey, right? And so when I have realized, of course, that, you know, his energy, I've always carried a part of it with me, you know, and I'm able to affect the environment around me based on this connection, and, you know, talking to him like he's actually here in my physical space with me from time to time. I mean, I'm usually talking in my head, but yeah. I know, I sound like I'm completely crazy. That's all right. That's all right. One day it'll make sense. And then it won't just be me. It's just people will finally be able to relate to it. But in the meantime, going back to that point of how it was like of the utmost importance that I learned to trust myself first, because I'm aware of how absolutely crazy most of what I say sounds anymore. But I'm also aware that it's literally changing my entire life. Like, my entire life is already completely different than it was when I encountered the twin flames energy, like the actual human existence version and the social media space, and started I mean, basically the universe forced me to start working on clearing out the garbage stuff, the bad emotions, or the bad stories, the stuff that I was stuck in, you know, and that I always got stuck in. So it was like, if you want to start manifesting better things, you have to be able to dream bigger and actually have something hopeful and optimistic to look forward to, right? And my life did not raise me to do that. My life very much tried to keep me from doing that at every possible level. So it has been a lot of healing work to even get to the point where I could start dreaming bigger and thinking of like actual favorable things that I would like to manifest into my environment. Yes. So when I got this statue, what it represented for me was that I already have this connection where I'm basically surrounded by this energy, but I find it turning within, right? So when I turn within, it's already there. You know, and everything that I've learned that I'm pretty confident are relevant to this actual person in the physical existence has come to me in the sort of spiritual space first, right? And that's why I've had to trust myself, because, you know, I'm seeing all these connections. I'm seeing the numbers. I'm seeing the initials. I'm seeing the name. I'm seeing this stuff around me several times every single day. And occasionally having the conversations, but always, right, every day. I mean, there's been a handful of days that I missed, but not very many. I have tried to spend a decent amount of time journaling about what's going on and the connections that I've been making, you know. So yeah, so it's like when I turn within, I already have this sort of protection in the wings, if you will, if we want to look at the statue representation of it. I like being able to see it outside of myself and have it to reflect back within, but it's still outside, but it's like it allows it energetically to be safer for me to work through even deeper levels of what's going on. Right? If that makes sense. Yeah. So I got this statue for that purpose, so I can have it in my space and feel like the woman on the statue being held within the safety of like the wings and like the person and the angel, if you will, on the other side. I mean, they're together in the statue, but maybe I'll take a picture of the statue and use that for the thumbnail on the video today, so I don't just sound completely crazy. I mean, fuck it, I'm gonna sound completely crazy anyway. I'm used to that now. That's, again, a big part of why I've had to do this, from the very bottom up, and why the YouTube space had to be a thing where I brought my storytelling and healing. And no, I really need you to quit it. Just sit right there. Just sit right there. No. No, he did not sit on my straw. Since I mentioned that earlier. Stop! Dude. Pushiest dog I've ever had. Ever. But I love him. But ever. Yeah. So then, okay. Then, when my mom is talking about wanting me to take her and my aunt and my grandma to see my cousin's baby up in Noblesville, which was 45-minute drive to my cousin's house. And my immediate thought is, what a great way to ruin a day, right? Because just spending time with at least two of the most negative people that I know. And then I was thinking about this whole boundaries thing, and maybe a part of this whole thing, if I do take them, maybe the thing I need to do is be like, okay, now look, I will take you today if you guys are just going to trash talk everybody and everything. I will never do it again. Maybe that's just the boundary I need to put out there. I mean, whereas I'd really like to say, no, figure it out yourself. My mom can't drive, which I don't even know that she's invited. That was the thing the other day. My mom sent me a message asking about the 11th. Stop. Sit your ass down. Sit. She asked me about the 11th. And she said, Grandma's wanting to go see the baby. Beth is wanting to go up there, obviously, as well. And she says, I would like to see him too. And I really have no desire to go. And I said the other day, I know this sounds really bad, it's like I've never been more uninterested in somebody else's baby in my life, I don't think. And I'm pretty uninterested in other people's babies for the most part. And I think it's more... Okay, part of what I think happened with this specific kid, I think the family dynamic with my mom's side and my grandfather being the way he was, and everybody catering to every whim, every toxic whim, and enabling his bad behavior to continue. I feel like what that did was, it was like the people playing the roles or their parts in his story, my grandfather's. I feel like through the enabling, basically they were like a spool of thread. Like, okay, like they come along and start feeding into his spool, right? And so his little spool's spinning and acquiring more and more thread while theirs are being depleted, but they're completely bound up together and impossible to separate, right? Well, not completely impossible, but very difficult at that point. Now, since me and my brother have disconnected ourselves and stopped feeding into that, I feel like there's still a whole lot of energies feeding into that toxic enabling thing. And I feel like when my grandfather passed away, since my cousin was pregnant, and here's, hey, open vessel, that the way that the thread on the spool was so tightly bound together basically just pulled my grandfather right back immediately into another body. And I say that because when I talked to Annie the other day and I said I am about positive that kid is my grandfather reincarnated. Like, I started talking through the things that would make perfect sense, like, for my grandfather and all his obsessiveness over everything and bullying people into submission of doing whatever he wanted from them. And now this little child is born on my cousin's 30th birthday, which, I talked about a lot about how, he was notorious for hijacking every birthday, holiday, all the things to obsess over his death, right? And so everybody else's birthdays became about him. Every holiday became about him. All that kind of thing. So why wouldn't, because the baby was born 5 weeks early, I think. And I really, my cousin had a post back in November, they did the little pregnancy announcement, and she said, "We can't wait until April to meet you," or whatever. And I really wanted to go back to her post and be like, I guess he couldn't wait either. But I didn't, because they didn't make the announcement at that point in time. So anyway, I feel like because of how bound those souls are together, that they basically just pulled him right back into this infant, right? The open vessel. And karmically speaking, 819, karmically speaking, he was born, I ran the birth chart information, got that to see what it looked like, and there are 6 Pisces placements and 2 Cancer placements. Tell me that is not some kind of karma and feeling all the feelings after all the bullying that went into creating the toxic dynamic in the family that there's been. And no, this is not me wishing that child has a difficult life by any means. This is just me looking at what is already there and saying, ooh, and I know my Cancer signs are like plenty intense, and since most of them are in the 12th house, which is like subconscious stuff. So it's like really working through some crazy shit. And knowing how much I've picked up of everybody else's stuff, there's no way it's not. Okay, it's not impossible that it wouldn't be, but tell me how any other soul would be more worthy of coming back into that situation to have the following lessons of, okay, this is what happened the last time, now watch. But still, that just how it's threaded together. It's like it's just pulled him right back. And then meanwhile, me and my brother disconnecting, and especially moving away from my grandfather when he was in the process of kicking the bucket. Yeah. Now we're looking at leaving and finally having our own space, but we still struggle because this is the family that we were raised in. This is the dynamic that we were familiar with. And I mean, it's hard to not still feel some kind of grief for, the stuff that we missed out on because of the toxic dynamic in which we were raised in. But we're working on it. And I read something last night that was talking about, it was one of those things like 4 different signs that, are, I don't remember what the thing was, but something to the effect of holding their ground or whatever. And Capricorn was one of them. And it's like, that to me speaks strongly of why and that's so cute. She denies it. She looked away or turned her head as soon as I did that. Like Cancer and Capricorn are sister signs. And then of course my brother and me. And he's got all the earth, I got all the water. I don't know if he has any water placements or not. Not many if he does. But he's got at least a couple Capricorn and at least one Virgo. And some fire. We both got some fire. So it's like, it makes even more sense to me why I needed to be the one that started speaking up about what I was noticing, because it's like all these deep levels that I've been receiving and making sense of the information from, but then it's been through sharing it with my brother that he's able to kind of ground it in, and yeah, this isn't healthy. This isn't a good thing. So now, he and his family are getting ready to move to another state, partly to get away from it, largely to get away from it, I think. There's other factors that have played into the decision to move, but definitely the family is like top of the list. And so since he's grounding it in better and getting ready to leave, it's like, I don't want to be here by myself, so I'm still able to focus more on trying to figure out a way to get, I am holding to the point that I need to leave and trying to remain open and surrendered to the universe on guiding this whole thing so I can leave. Now my ears ringing. And and I've talked about how I struggle with the point of it's still my family, so it's still really hard to say, yeah, when I'm done here, I'm done here, right? And I've gone back and forth on that point a whole lot through different videos, and I know at the end of the day, I need to, right? I need to be done. I need to go on to have my own life, to do things for me that I was never allowed to do before, and figure out how to be happy in this existence. Figure out what that looks like, right? Just get the wave of emotion again. So, yeah. And I think, I've talked about like my dad and the furniture and like trying to impose his energy on my space because, energetically speaking, I've already set the boundaries and you're not allowed in my space. So then he's trying to creep in the physical space to some degree, and he'll hover in the doorway and talk to my bird or whatever, or my dog. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. And that's something I've been kind of thinking about here lately, is I feel like since we are still there, me and the dogs, need some waters? Need some water, ZBD? Just sniffing my phone. No? We can have some. Okay. But yeah, like, since we're all there, like, we're all in it together, right? So they can't have access to me, but they're still trying to keep their icky energy, keeping the dogs roped in. Okay, take a break. Breathe. 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 Okay. Otherwise, he'll just chug it all and then, I hate that. But then it's kind of funny because I was thinking about, like, the parallels with the Hecate figure, the dark goddess, and, you know, she's got the dogs. And, you know, they essentially escort her through hell, right? And she's there to kind of help people find the way through. Basically, got to find her own path first, with the assistance of the trusty canine companions. Shut up. Stay in the back seat. You're fine. I know you want to cuddle. I don't want to cuddle. See, and now your sister wants to cuddle too. Hi. Don't lick my bracelets. But, like, since I've been doing this energy healing work for myself, stop. You know, they're still there with me. And Gidget was doing that this morning. She's like laying right here and just kept licking my neck. It's like, okay. Yeah. But it's like, that parallel, you know, she's an archetype. So I look at kind of having to navigate through this own hell space for my journey. And then I have my little friends. And this one that's licking the seat. Quit licking the seat. Zippy, stop it. Zippy, stop it. Quit it. And, you know, they've been here with me the entire time. You know, when we were down in Alabama and started disconnecting from that situation, and they've been helping me to navigate my way on the whole journey, right? Stop. So, yeah. But, you know, since my energy's off limits and I'm trying to remember to do the things and thank the universe for them being here with me the whole way and not getting hung up in the energetic cords from the family that I've already disconnected from energetically, to, you know, because, you know, obviously these are mine, right? Well, I mean, they've been gifted to me by the universe to entrust or to take care of them and all that stuff, and they take care of me, right? Ziva Diva, stop it. Yeah. And so, since we still all got these energetic cords together, of course, if my parents can't access mine or my energy, the next thing they're going to go for is my animals, right? Zippy, please stop. Put the water bowl where she was licking, and she just laid down. Just like, I quit, fine. Give up. Yeah. But so, we have the energetic cords for us because we are all bound together. So, it's like a safe space for the love to go, since it's wasted on the family that, doesn't reciprocate anything, and they're just trying to suck the life out of me anyway. So, yeah. I had other things I was going to talk about. I still have other things I'm going to talk about. I just get really distracted with the, with the chaos with the dogs there for a little bit, because, the dude back here getting all wound up, that one's relatively well behaved. And then the other one licking the chair. And I think part of that is the energy of the situation, where they're still partly connected to my parents' energies because they live in their house too. And then there's that discomfort level, right? So I think that's where some of the licking is coming from in it, and some of his little malfunction. Yeah. I have been thinking a lot about that lately, and it's like how to help them disconnect, since there's less they can do, just in their little pupper standing. But I can still set intentions and do energy clearing and whatnot. Like, they need baths, right? I know from experience that water is... There's a really cool crow flying over. Yeah, crow or raven, I don't know. I don't know. There's just one, so yeah. I think crows tend to stay in bigger groups, and ravens are more likely to fly solo, I think. But, obviously that doesn't mean no crows ever alone or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant. Yeah. Well, the bath time thing, that would help them too. And I should do it way more than I do, because right now it's usually when they get funky. Like, I've washed Ziva's head like 3 times to one bath because she's made it a habit of getting peed on. The other day, Gidget peed on her. It's like, how did you let your baby sister pee on your head? And it was literally, Gidget found something that Ziva didn't get the chance to sniff before Gidget was trying to pee on it. So Ziva just went up between her legs to go under to sniff and got peed on. It's like, seriously, stop it. Stop. Yeah. So, yeah. But, dude still got some chili on him. Yeah, he's got something funky on his head. You can get it out of your system? I like his little freckle there. Okay, I will get you more water, but... You want some this time? Well, let's see if Zibbly will drink some this time. CBD. Nope. Not interested. Fours. Haha. Okay. This is... Oh, we're back to licking too. Licking, slurping, sitting there chill. frustrated that she's not gotten more of a walk. Yeah. So this morning, I watched that second Smile movie. Oh my god, it was so good. It was way better than the first one, to be honest. And I don't know how long it's been since I've like started my day with a movie, let alone a horror movie. I've definitely never done that. And usually when I watch the horror movies, I usually follow it up with like a rom-com or Disney movie or something, to have it out of my system before I go to bed. But, I had other stuff I was daydreaming about at that point, so it worked. Yeah. And stop. Quit. Yeah, so it was really good. I knew how it was going to end, basically. Long before it got there, I knew what was going to happen, the general idea, but then it was like, yeah, just the way it came about. It's like, oh, that's just, it was really good. Yeah, so stop. I don't want to hold you right now. And yeah, like, I don't normally just stay in bed and watch movies. This was, honestly, he is about this well-behaved when he's ready to get up. Gidget will start fussing when she wants me to spend some time petting her. And once he starts barking, there's like so much barking he has to do in the morning, and it drives me nuts. Stop! Yeah. And then once I open my door and figure out whatever I'm going to wear and then go get ready, then he'll just like go lay down on the couch for a while and it'll be fine until he can yell at me again some more. I know you want up here. I'm going to do it again and I'm going to regret it again. See, Gidget's immediately like, here I am, let me up too. Yeah. I know. Your boob of a brother is pushy and whiny and nasty hair. He's standing here. Do what you're gonna do. Are you gonna lay down? What are you doing? What are you doing? We're staring out the window. And wagging the nub. Since he has no tail. He was not docked. I think he was one that was born without, because it's just a smooth booty back there. Okay. Yeah, see that mess on his head? What's that all about? I don't want to talk about it. Probably got to pee again from all the water. Or poop. Dude. I don't want to take them all out. Next time I'm leaving your ass at home. Oh, don't lick my cup. Oop. That did not work out well. But he's in the back seat again, so there's that. Stop. Hold on. Okay. Repeat again. And here we are again. Now it's chilly. And yep, there it is. A little nervous there for a second, not gonna lie. Yeah. Because it doesn't always. They got a new battery because they said that was about shot, and so they got the new battery and it didn't fix or didn't make it start up any faster or better either. So yeah. Okay, so energetic stuff, right? Yeah, but that's part of why I want to get all of us out of here. I feel like at some level the dogs are partly also keeping me tied to the icky family stuff. So how to cleanse them and have us all be able to separate it out from it and not be an issue, right? No wonder it's cold. It's cold. I have 3 shirts on, so not a bunch today, and I left my coat in the car when I took the dogs over there to potty, and that is a big, that's a hair. Yeah, it's a little chilly, so that's why I had to start the car. Yeah. So I had this thing pop up on my phone this morning from my Pattern app, and it's talking about the Venus Cazimi. And the thing that I listened to, I want to say it talks about, Venus has descended into the underworld, and now she's returned back into the sunlight, kind of a thing, or in the light of the sun, whatever. When I was thinking about it today, okay, so I talked a lot about the twin flame stuff. That's kind of the point of a lot of this whole thing. That is a big part of the point, because that has been a critical element in keeping me moving forward and making me do the healing work that I've needed to do, that I otherwise was inclined to want to completely shut down and detach from life, because it hurt and it was hard and I got really tired of crying. I've done that a lot. But then there's always that piece that kept pulling me even when I would otherwise want to shut down. There's 333. See? Not making up all this stuff that's outside that and the car's at night, or the odometer's at 987, but I'm not going to show you that one. Yeah. Oh. 42 degrees. Trip mileage. The trip A is at 42 miles. So yeah, synchronicities everywhere. And when I looked at the timer just then, it was at 42 seconds. Yeah. So, when I started, the reason I started the channel was, as I've said, because the twin flame had to be in some kind of spotlight so I could find him, but then how would he ever find me? So then I started doing the thing, right? And it's largely been devoted to my healing process and working through the hard shit, making the connections. That it's taken some time. It's definitely taken some time. It's not like, by nature, I've been spending my whole life trying to figure out why things were going the way they were for me. So this has just been that thing that has kept me being pulled in the right direction, so I can't shut down and can't just shut it all off, disappear into my little crab shell like everything in me has wanted to do and has done many times throughout my life. It's like, nope, we're not doing that now. We have to keep going. Let's keep going. So, yeah, so then as I started clearing space and started being able to talk about it a little bit, even though I know it sounds crazy, I also think about back when I was in high school, I had this thought of wanting like this ultimate love story, right? And having the kind of connection that makes other people want that for themselves, not to have jealousy thrown at it and be brought down because other people are jealous of it, but to make other people think, what do I need to do to allow that into my life, kind of a thing, right? Essentially, the reason that I've kept putting one foot in front of the other all along the way and didn't like commit suicide any of the times that I was actively hung up on that thought and desperate for a way to make the pain end. It's like, I talked about the time that I was most trying to end it, to make the pain go away, and how, I was standing in the bathroom looking at myself in the mirror. It's not looking at myself so much as looking at everything I could tear apart about myself, and just to make myself feel worse so I could make myself do the thing that I wanted to do, even though I was struggling to be able to do it. And in that process of like completely just tearing myself apart, it was like there was this hand there, sort of invisible, metaphysical, if you will, and that, kind of did one of these little numbers and made me look myself in the eyes. And, I heard that voice say, "You are far more beautiful than you will ever know." And it was like, I always just accepted that, it was divine intervention, because absolutely it was. But then also, with everything that I've been, connecting the dots on beyond that, and with this whole twin flame thing, it's like, okay, going back to the point of God is love, love is God, right? So having that unconditional loving space where it seemed like it was kind of within, but hold on. Okay. All right.
Stop.
He came over to talk to me. So they don't usually talk to me. Usually they just do a drive-by and look at me. And so I got out of the car. I said my dogs are going to start barking as soon as they know you're out here. So I just said, yeah, I have this YouTube thing that I'm kind of doing, and this is the only place I can go where it's quiet and away from my family. And he said, all right, that's fair enough. It's like, so yeah. I really want to cry again. And that wasn't anything bad, right? So, he's dealing with that whole, the suicidal thing. And then having somebody actually stop and ask how I'm doing, making sure everything's okay. It's like having this thing, this information of this thing that I'm doing witnessed and experienced by another person. That was like a whole big ass wave. Just hit me. Yeah. And I told him I'm over here pretty often because this is one of those places I can go. As I say, so you'll probably see me again and just parked over here. But yeah, like I'm not doing anything bad. I'm just trying to not be. It's so weird because it's like, you know how I've talked about how I'm actively not going out of my way to grow the channel, right? This is why, because, you know, this is one person out there, and yeah, he'll tell the other cops in the department about it, I'm sure, because there's been many of them that I have done little drive-bys now, making sure I'm okay. But it's like, when I'm doing the videos, especially at this point in time, right now it's just kind of a for me thing, right? So this is my talk therapy. This is me working through stuff, making the connections, and talking about it. I mean, because I really don't have a whole lot of friends. I mean, I've Ben and my brother, but I have also some friendly acquaintance connections in the class group. And so it's not like I'm not ever talking about it. But most of the stuff that I'm talking about here is not stuff that I'm sharing with everybody when I'm talking about the stuff later, right? So, like, I will tell my brother things that I've made connections on because I was doing this video or going into the video or whatever. But still, to have it kind of witnessed by somebody else that I'm doing this thing, like somebody that actually sees me sitting in my car and wants to come check in on me to make sure I'm okay. That was just a big wave of emotion. And that's exactly why this has been slow moving and why it is supposed to be slow moving. Even though I know that it's just a matter of time before that changes and the universe deems me really ready to step into the bigger side of what it's meant to be and what it's meant to do. That was still just a big, like, having it witnessed by somebody else. Because like I said, doing the videos is just me talking to the video or talking to my phone because I don't really have anybody else I can talk to about this stuff, right? So whoever comes to my videos at any point in time, gets to see what I'm actually going through or was going through at that point in time that I did that particular video, whatever video they happen upon or whatever. Oh my God. And you get that out of my system before I go back home. Because, yeah. Like, oh, hey, you look like you've been crying again. Why do you always leave to cry? Because I can. Because it gets you out of my armpit. Whatever. Hold on. Sorry. I totally had a booger that had to come out. Yeah. And like, I think about, like, even with that, all the times along the way where I've had a thought come to mind and wanted to say it or to share it with somebody else, but then it's like, no, that's probably too stupid or whatever. It's like, I can just say the shit here. So, yeah, I'll probably get made fun of about it at some point. But, by the way, it was like 1:03:33 when I was looking, when I happened to look, and now it's 3:45 on the clock. Yeah. But it's like all the painful experiences, all the stupid experiences. I had nowhere else to share, so I brought it here. I figure I am confident there are more people that will relate to those kind of things when they do happen upon my stuff and the universe starts pushing it further to where it's supposed to be going. Because the biggest thing has been take the steps to doing the thing, right? And then let the universe handle it from there. So my step is do the video, watch the video to figure out what I talked about, and put it on the YouTube interwebs and set it to public, and then just let it go wherever it's meant to go, right? It's like none of that stuff is for me to control. And most of it is essential for me to not be aware of it through this process, because it goes back into, all the different points in which I would have shut down. There's been a bunch of those. The times I've thought about deleting the channel because I suddenly panicked and was afraid of it doing anything, or, the comment where when I talked about how the twin flame made a comment on his Instagram that triggered me briefly, and the point that it was, I think, kind of crucial that it came from something he said to trigger me, because what it immediately made me think was, what if this is all wrong? And I've been doing this whole thing this whole time, and it ends up being wrong, right? But everything in me is telling me it's not. But I needed to face that fear too, where, like, the two things that he said that were even remotely close to connected to me were just that some girl comment and in Indiana. And I was like, that was all I needed to have the moment of being triggered to completely, try to shut down and get lost within myself again, but also to face the fact that I've put a shit ton of stuff out here now. I think this will be video 177 or 178. It's like, I can't just go back and delete all that because I know that, like, my greatest purpose on this whole healing thing is not for me to heal other people. It's for me to heal essentially in front of other people, so then maybe whatever they find that they can connect to along the way, something in that will help them keep moving forward on their healing stuff, right? But like when he said that, and I had the moment of being triggered, and then I had the moment of thinking about deleting the whole channel and getting rid of everything, and it's like, nope, can't do that. And also, it's not wrong, because it's literally been that driving force that has kept me moving. And like, of course, now it's just as easy as the local sheriff checking in to make sure I'm okay. But all along the way, it still felt isolated and separate, even though I know, since I'm putting it in this YouTube space, that it's not that anymore. But it's still basically a shield for me, right? To be able to do this hard stuff and cry through it however many times I gotta freaking cry through it again. So one day, when I do get where I'm meant to be at and not just forever stuck in the bullshit that I've been stuck in, when I'm actually connecting to people in the real world afterwards, and stop. When I'm actually connecting to people later on that have found me along the way and all that fun stuff. You have to lick my lens. Then it's like, at that point, there's no more denying it, right? It's like now it's out there. So if somebody asked me about something that's happened, well, now they just know what's happened and I have to own it, right? I can't just deny ever having talked about it, because if they found it, they probably needed it at some level. And then it will give me the freedom to step more into who I am here to be, and to be truly authentic and not just shut down and hide. Revert back to the shell because everything got scary again. No, it'll be, well, things might get scary, but it's already out there, so now what? Stop. I really would like you to stop. Next time you stay home. And my apologies to anybody who has dogs and happens upon this, and this bozo's running his mouth the whole time, because I know there's been many times where I will rewatch the video and he will just hear himself bark and then start barking because he heard a dog bark somewhere. This is literally busy work as much as anything. And yes, 111 up there, and I did see it when there was 11 seconds too. Even though I was doing this thing. But yeah, it's like, going back to that point on, okay, like the space that I've talked about, having the little house where I can paint everything however fucked up I want and let all the chaos out of my system and into my living environment so I can see it outside of my system. Don't you dump water on me. Well, it's mostly empty, but still. And then invite people into that space as I deem them safe to be in the space. Then they can see, hey, this is what the real chaos that's been in my system the whole time, right? And yeah. Stop. And meanwhile, it's just step by step for me, navigating through the difficult things and talking through whatever when it wasn't anything and when it hasn't been anything, so that one day when it becomes something, I will have already worked through enough of the difficult stuff, the stuff where I would have wanted to shut down, and it's like, well, now you can't. Now you're out there. Now people know you're out there. I talked about wanting to expand my dot. Guess that's how we do that. You just keep doing the thing, even when it's scary and even when it hurts and all that fun stuff. And I feel 333. Like these guys are going to drive me nuts. Hey, knock it off. Oh, rude ass. That one's so well behaved back there. Yeah, 1 out of 3 ain't bad, right? Yeah. Just that moment of being witnessed. But then thinking about that too, because like even then, like the moment that I was talking about when he showed up was a suicidal moment, and he probably came over here not knowing if I was like, that could have been somebody having that kind of moment. He could have, who knows what he could have found, had it not been what it is, had it been like the thing a long time ago or whatever. And yeah. And I owned it. I said I have a YouTube thing that I've been doing, and I come over here because it's away from the family, and there's a little bit of quiet and able to do the things. Is it okay? Fair enough. It's like, that's it. Just keep having this little voice replay in my head. Just, can I get a witness? It's like, I got a witness. All right. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Oh, man. This has been way more chaotic today than I even anticipated. Because, of course, if I would have just taken the movies back to the library and left the dogs at home and come over here and done it, it would have been a lot more peaceful. I mean, that still probably would have happened. But, yeah. Is what it is. And then one day, when it comes back around and this goes wherever it's meant to go, that cop will know I was the weirdo that he talked to. Yeah. Or that, yeah, and he was the one mentioned in the video. So, yeah. I mean, although that said, there's been at least one other drive-by, and the one was at the cemetery. And that was a different cop car altogether. Like, this is, that was the sheriff. I don't know. I don't remember who the other one was with, but it wasn't one of the local cars, but, I don't know. Yeah. So, like, my shell is being unpacked where other people can potentially see it. And this motor mouth. Stop. Anyway. Oh, that Venus Kazemi thing. So, I've talked about, like, one of the steps on this whole twin flame thing, back in, like, March or April. Stop. Damn lens again. Healer time. Haha. I think it was, like, March or April. I had this day where I was thinking, what a hot mess. I kind of want my glasses back on, even though I know you can still see that, even though it's just my eyelashes, but still. Stop! Sit. 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 That's not a sit. Sit. You know how to sit. In the back. Sit in the back. Anyway, I talked about how since my Venus is in Leo, and I had caught something somewhere that said, if you really want to be happy in a relationship, find somebody whose Venus sign is your sun sign. So that made me think that, well, he's a Leo. My Venus is Leo, so that's kind of like, that feels like that's connected. So then I feel like it's relatively safe to think that his Venus would be in Cancer. Just since all the ways I know that it's that we're connected anyway. And no. All the ways that I know this thing has been connected, and all the little connecting the dots pieces that I've had to do along the way, right? So when I started thinking about the Leo or the Venus aspect of it, then it's like, okay, so basically, like, my heart is a Leo, right? Is how my brain made the connection. So stop. So then, no. You know, there was this time where I started feeling more bold and, you know, starting to talk about the twin flame stuff on this space, for example, getting a little more open with it, being more bold to take the chances to put myself out there and potentially, you know, because if I'm wrong about all this, then potentially destroy myself, right? But the universe isn't going to allow me to do that, because the universe knows what I've been through all along the way and how much it's taken for me to get to this point in my life, right? So I'm very confident the universe is not setting me up to just completely destroy me, even though way back when I would have made the argument that it probably was. This is the end of it. No, shut up. Just a little splash. He drank this whole bottle by himself. So he's not suffering. Oh, my mom's calling. But anyway, it's like the twin flame thing made me start stepping into the, you know, the heart space, right? And that's the more bold part of me, essentially, because the rest is like super crab and let me go hide away. And that's, you know, I'm not able to do that now. So once I started kind of energetically moving from that space, stop! It's kind of been this weird dynamic where sometimes I feel like, okay, like I've talked on here a lot too about like the divine masculine, divine feminine aspect, and how we each have both aspects of this. We all have both within us, and we have to bring them into unity together. Stop. And it's really weird because I have felt energetically like it's a back and forth. Like, you know, today I feel like I'm kind of more in the feminine space on a lot of making the connections and just being receptive to what the universe is bringing into my awareness. Well, there we go. She's tired of the shit too. Thank you. No. Yeah. But it's like, I watch all these videos and people they make it seem like you're either the divine masculine or the divine feminine. It's like, I feel like it's just a big fucking dance between the two all the time, right? And it's like, doing this is moving from the masculine aspect because it's the action oriented, and doing the thing even though it's uncomfortable, because I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing. And then, you know, also remembering from time to time that I need to take time to rest as well, right? And I'm not very good at that. Well, I mean, I have my moments. Sometimes I think that's where it's gotten kind of weird, because there's some times where I feel like I'm trying to take rest, but then it also feels like shut down and shut the rest of the world out. And I think that's kind of one of those things that I'm navigating through right now. But anyway, back to the Venus Kazemi thing. What I was thinking of since, okay, I've also done talked about how, like, as above, so below, right? So for him, as above, if we think him, this person outside of me, and then so below be the heart space, right? And then, no. If you shut up, I could take this out of my system, and then we could go home and get along with everybody again. Stop. Okay, so, as above, right, that's him, right? As above, so below, me, my heart space, right? And then, as within, be his heart space, and then, so without, that's me. So it's like, my heart space, it's already him, right? So Leo and all the ways it lines up and all the different connections that I've made because of this space. And then I think back to this Venus Kazemi, which is the heart of the sun piece. And it's like on the one end, seeing it as I am stepping more into who I am and who I came here to be, right? So like me doing this thing, and it's also that as within piece on where I am his heart space, if that makes sense, because this dog fussing in my ear is driving me nuts. Stop. Yeah, stop it. Anyway, that was the big thing that I was thinking about. And then, like, going back to that statue even, and, you know, feeling like it's the representation, right? So, the wings on the statue for this angel, you know, feels like his energy surrounding me, even when hard things and scary things come up along the way, and it's like I'm still protected in this space to keep doing the thing I know I'm supposed to be doing, right? But then also the heart of the sun, where I don't know what he's doing, but Leo is ruled by the sun, so he, of course, is in his own, he got his own sunlight anyway. And then here's me. Ha! Anyway, that was a whole lot of confusion in this video, and I'm really tired of fighting with this dog, and now they're probably hungry anyway, and my mom just called, and everything is going weird, so it's probably time to go home and wrap this up, and I'll post this in spite of the chaos, and yeah. At the end of the day, chaos walls, so I can see the chaos outside of my system. That doesn't mean it's all the chaos is outside of my system. It's just now I can see that's outside of myself and like make connections with my little ink blot divination stuff I got going on. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. So as always, I appreciate you. Until the next time, see ya.